With this being an election year, there is an extra level of scrutiny into the moves that the Fed makes. So why is the Fed still willing to make this decision even though they could get a lot of pushback for it? Federal Reserve is on a collision course with the 2024 election. They know this, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell said, "Bring it on." Okay, maybe he didn't use those exact words, but the Fed knows that if they cut rates in September, as they are most likely going to do, that there is probably going to be political backlash for doing so. So why would the Fed still continue on with this action even though they know there is potential blowback? Well, let's deep dive into this. And before we get started, let me just say that if you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me. Let me make this clear. Unless something drastic happens between now and mid-September, the Fed is going to be dropping rates during that September meeting. Unless for whatever reason in August inflation just jumped through the roof, which it's not looking like it's going to happen, the Federal Reserve is going to be dropping rates. The job report just came in. It was underwhelming. It did not look good. Unemployment is up to 4.3%. All of this is just signs that the economy is starting to weaken. There's fears of a recession going on, and some people even want the Fed to move quicker than September. They saw the job report and they think that the Fed needs to cut rates now, and I think that that's a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, and you do get these type of overreactions. You might see some videos online where people are, the stock market goes down for one day and everybody, it's time to sell and all this stuff. And a lot of that stuff is just clickbait, people looking for views or for attention from articles. Now, the job report was bad. Unemployment is starting to get up to uncomfortable levels. If you look at certain rules and certain indicators, it is indicating that if we stay on the current course that we are, we will probably end up in a recession. So the Federal Reserve, the idea of cutting rates soon, I do think that it's going to happen. I don't think that they'll jump the gun, but I do think, even though it's election season, that September, that they are not going to change despite what any politician says. Our economy is feeling the effects of higher interest rates. You could see it in the numbers, but in all honesty, these higher rates that the Fed moved a few years ago, it did its job. It cooled inflation to where the Fed wanted it to cool it, but now, things are shifting, and with this being an election year, there is an extra level of scrutiny into the moves that the Fed makes. So why is the Fed still willing to make this decision even though they could get a lot of pushback for it? Now, the Fed has always tried to maintain that they are an independent central bank. They do not act off of what the president tells them or what some other branch in government tells them. They act, in the interest of the economy based off the jobs numbers and the inflation numbers. That is what they make their moves on. If it is an election year or not an election year, they've always, they do not let those things affect them. That if it was right before an election, during an election, or right after an election, they are going to make the moves that they would make regardless of who's president or whatever is going on. But politicians, especially in an election year, you'll see stuff online that it's so-and-so's economy, and let's just say that the Fed does cut rates, and for whatever reason October numbers look great or September numbers look great. You'll have certain politicians that, my economy looks this way, when really it was the Fed's policies that made the economy kind of shift to where it was headed. But politicians will try to use things like that in their favor to try to get votes. And even though I think that it's wrong and a lot of people think that it's wrong, it's politicians are still gonna do it. And that's why some people think, let's wait till after the election is done in order to do this, so that it doesn't tip the election one way or another. The Fed has said absolutely not. We will not let this election affect anything that we have going on. And honestly, I think that it's the right move. And I really think that people should not, they should be able to think more than that instead of saying this is so and so's economy and because of them this is going on. Now, the presidential branch and different policies and things that they make do affect the economy. I understand that tax breaks and, like when Trump did the tax breaks and everything was going up, that was a direct effect based off of what a president did. But then you look at it when COVID came around and things had to shut down and different hard decisions had to be made. That wasn't necessary. Oh, because of that president, the economy didn't know it was a pandemic going on all around the world. So sometimes the president has an effect. But a lot of times there's other things that go on, and people just, if they're going to be voting and making decisions, just understand that if the Fed is cutting rates, it's not so-and-so's economy that's doing great or bad. It's really the policymakers that are kind of shifting things. Now, in a perfect world, the Federal Reserve would wait until the election is done in order to make the policy decisions that they need to make, but that is not where we are in our economic cycle. The cycle calls for action now, and the Federal Reserve is not going to wait because they fear upsetting some politician. That would be an irresponsible move that they're just not going to make. I believe the Fed is going to act at that September meeting. Now, again, it's not guaranteed, and things could change, but more than likely they are going to act, and regardless of what any politician says, and even though it's a hard decision, it's a decision that might come with some backlash and some criticism, sticking by that, trying to do what's right by the economy, and hopefully it's the right move. We still don't know that 100%. The numbers kind of look like that is now, but only time will tell. If you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me.